You are listening to a proud member of the FightFans Radio Network.
What's going on, guys? We are live. This is episode, which one?
7.
Episode 7. This is me, Real DWC, David Carroll. Real DWC is my Twitter name. Also follow me at the BJJ Addict. You can just type that in. You'll find us. Check us out on our YouTube page. Go subscribe and go like our Facebook. Also like FightFans Radio. They put this wonderful show together for us. And, Jerry, you got anything to plug real quick?
Follow me on Twitter at JerrowelP, at JeeRowelP.
Nice. So, today, we went on another little training, at-home training before the podcast happened.
Yes, sir.
This is what I like to call leg drag season.
Yeah.
And we trained not yesterday, the day before and the day before that. So for like 3 out of the last 4 days, we've gotten our reps in for leg drags. And this is something I love. I'm loving this. I'm loving leg drags.
It's something we've been doing. What? How many times do you think we did the leg drag? Do you think?
Repetitions?
Yeah.
Carry the 1, multiply. What's pi again? 3.14?
Yeah.
I'd say at least, no, honestly, like 1,000 maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably 1,000. I'm trying to be realistic. But nonstop. I actually been training harder than I would usual. I think because you find something you actually want to train maybe, and you don't know it as well, so maybe you still have that hunger opposed to like hard. Sometimes you get a little lazy maybe.
I think our mentality changed a little bit because I don't know what it is, but something just clicked and we, on Friday we came in, started our day off at 8?
Yeah, 8 a.m.
We got here at 8 healthy.
Yeah.
And then got to the dojo at like 8:45.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were done training at what time?
Close, right before 10, so I do a quick shower, start my day for work.
Yeah, and I was there till 1.
Yeah. So after training these, I haven't even live rolled yet with anyone. How do you feel it is during live action?
Well, the leg drag, I pulled it off. Like everybody I went against, I was able to leg drag them. So yeah. I mean, definitely, I feel more comfortable mechanics wise. It's starting to get there.
Yeah,
definitely I need work on it more.
Yeah, I'm thinking, if you don't mind, I would like to keep this up for remainder of the month.
Yeah.
Just leg drags. I don't care if we think we know it good enough, because you're always gonna meet somebody that's seen it numerous times, and they don't care that you're leg dragging them, just like any other move eventually. So I think we should just keep going until we get sick of this, and then we just keep going some more.
Yeah.
We're working out scenarios, tweaking it a bit, but we talked about it already last week, but I'm telling you right now, man, the leg drag.
Yeah, it's a powerful move. It's not too fancy. I thought it was fancy at first, but I mean, it's really technical in terms of how you smash the person.
Yeah, and, that sounds wrong.
Yeah.
So we just came back from the mall. Normal transition. We just came back from the mall.
No love today.
Nothing, man. We go do our creep walk.
Yep.
And the girl that you have a crush on, we could say.
Yes.
She's not working today for 2 Tuesdays now. Like, what if she switched her shifts around? This isn't good.
Maybe she's not there anymore. That'll be, I don't know. Heart. Just kidding.
But so I mean, so there's a fail there. We didn't videotape this one, but we'll start vlogging some more stuff. We didn't even videotape all our training.
Speaking of training, what else did we do?
We did some sprints.
OMG, guys. Sprints are not fun.
Okay, not just any sprints though. We sprinted up a hill. Gradually got more steep.
300-400 meters?
Yeah, probably about that. It took a good 40 to 50 seconds to run up the hill. Takes 2 minutes to walk down it. 3 minutes. It takes a couple minutes to recover sometimes, depending. But you were ambitious. Before we got there, you said you were gonna bang out 7.
I was gonna say. I said I was gonna do 7.
You said 7 easily.
First one, I blew everything. I just got fired. The first one.
and you got through the 5 though. That I said we'd do no matter what.
It was really fun too at the end. Well, the end was not good actually, but on the 4th run, I was giving up. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then it started raining, and I look up, and I was like, this is a sign.
Yeah. Speaking of is this a sign? Are you that type of person actually where something will happen and you'll look into it more than maybe it was just a piece of paper that was on the ground, but you happen to pick it out and you're about to throw it out, and then the piece of paper just on it said like
don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like don't quit. Yeah. Like you take those types of things as a sign. Like the rain happened and you're like, this is a sign. I remember you even said that, like, I gotta finish at least these 2. I gotta get to 5.
I think that's the what's the word for the universe?
So, the world?
Well, like the universe's way of saying, hey, keep going, man. And you gotta, if it comes, whatever, you gotta use it, I guess, I don't know.
You're saying, like, even if you didn't believe it, you kind of use that to motivate you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a motivation tool. I mean, you can't just give up,
Good call.
Find something that, if you're down, try to find something and then just over-exaggerate what it means.
That's right.
All right, that's the best way of training, I would say, in my opinion.
I like it. Over-exaggerate.
Over-exaggerate the little things.
So just recently, before we did our training today, I happened to whip you up a magical kale. I don't even know if you could call it a kale shake because it had everything in it.
Everything green. Yeah.
It was a green shake.
Yeah.
Whoa! What did you think of it?
Oh man, it was really. It's not. It goes down.
Is it sitting well right now? It's been 3 hours. Is it sitting well?
It's sitting there somewhere.
It's still there 3 hours later, though.
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, it was really green, so I don't know.
I'm still playing around with the recipe. I put a lot of basil in it.
Yeah.
I love basil, but I even think I overdid the basil. What does this have to do with BJJ? Absolutely nothing.
Well, it's the way you take care of your body, right? I mean,
that's it. But yeah, the basil was on there enough.
Yeah.
So we did the shake, the training. It all ties into feeling healthier and then getting, when you're healthier, man, you just roll better.
Yeah.
Those sluggish days are the worst.
I feel good,
Yeah, I ate some McDonald's breakfasts and did the training. I know you've done it. I've seen you.
Yeah, I've done it. I stopped doing it.
I feel like a bag of crap trying to move around.
No.
It's brutal. Nothing against McDonald's. I love you, but not before I train.
I've been eating healthy.
Yeah.
I've taken Twitter pics, Instagram pics.
Hey, I'm on there now.
Instagram.
I did one.
I didn't know I had Instagram. I had a bunch of followers.
Guys, follow me on Instagram, Real DWC. That's a D, a W, and a C. Before that, it says Real. Follow me on Instagram. Follow Jerr. I take pics about nothing right now. Just one.
Yeah, I saw one. I took a pic. I don't know if you saw it. It's in case of emergency, break class. But in this case, it was in case of emergency, break dance.
Yeah, I laughed when I saw the pic. It was good. Instagram, pretty cool.
It's like Twitter, but without words and more pictures.
I like that you could be so misleading on the pic when you hook it up to your Twitter, and you don't even you don't even have what's it called?
I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so did I. So I can't multitask and watch it,
which is funny because okay,
I'm back. Awkward moments over. No, the thing I was saying I love about Instagram is you could be so misleading. I could be like, look how big this cock is. Inappropriate, but you click on it, it's a rooster. Yeah. So I mean, Instagram, you get a lot of clicks being misleading, which I kind of like because they can't see what the hell it is. You have to click the link. It's not the picture.
Yeah.
Like when you post on Twitter.
The thing I like about Instagram is that I'm not very artistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very martial artistic, but not but it allows you to have that, sense of artisticness.
You're right. I kind of made mine look like a postage stamp and faded out. And I felt good about the picture I took when really it was just a board game. It was normal.
Yeah. No, I like Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I had something I want to cut you off.
What's up?
Not, I don't want to. I want to cut you off.
All right.
Have you ever tried to get sponsored have you ever tried ever in your life?
No.
Have you looked for sponsorship ever?
Not yet. I want it.
I know everyone out here listening can relate. It's a bitch, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean that in the best possible way. Like it's hard to get sponsorship out there.
Yeah.
Some people don't even reply. Like you could straight up write them an email, and I mean professional, and they won't even get back to you.
That's how it is, man.
It's a grind.
Unless your name is George St. Pierre or something.
Yeah, but I mean, like literally at the level we're at too. If they had to choose, let's say they were into it, like they probably sponsor maybe black belt.
Yeah. But
being a blue belt and trying to get hooked up, it's hard, man.
It's true.
I went out there. With this being said, man, I wrote a letter to. I took time out. I like Young and Reckless, the clothing company. I wrote them a letter, man. Straight up, I said, have you ever thought about hooking anybody up? Like, imagine a big Young and Reckless patch on your gi. It would look sick.
You know what?
I support that brand. It's good.
If there was one company that I would love to be sponsored by, is Lululemon.
For real, they have nice guy stuff, by the way,
and girl stuff.
Yeah, of course, but I'm saying they have nice guy stuff.
Yeah.
Would you actually watch what you wish for? What if you get this? That'd be awesome. But
they have good stuff actually.
I like their man shirts.
I wear tights in grappling, so I don't really know. Like I don't want somebody checking out my my figure with Lululemon stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're wearing tights, what does it matter? It might as well be a Lululemon.
Yeah, that's true.
You're gonna wear them anyways.
Yeah.
Anybody out there, let us know what hit us up, either one of us or BJJ Addict on Twitter. And I'm big on the Twitter. That gets the best replies. On Facebook, I don't keep up with the comments as much myself personally. I let my homeboy Josh take care of that. Thank you, Josh. But on Twitter, let me know anybody out there struggling, trying to get some sponsorship. I could relate. So it's hard, but I want to compete like you wouldn't believe everywhere. Not just the local stuff, man. I want to get out to July 14th. Everyone out there, if you're in the area, or even if you're a couple hours away, make the drive down Naga in Montreal. So I don't know if you've ever been to a Naga, Jerr, but it's a really well done tournament. It's fun. It's large. It's in charge.
It's in order.
Yeah, man. It's well done. So July 14th, Naga, Montreal. I think the BJJ Addict will be covering that, as well as I think I'm going to try to get out there and compete. I'm trying to do at least one a month. I
want to compete, man. Like, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I think you were ready a while ago.
Yeah, I think so.
So what's holding you back? Is it the money thing?
No, it's not that.
Because we might have to just get out here on this podcast and beg for people to wire us some coins. So
$1 a day, guys.
$1
a person, sorry.
$1. That cup of coffee you can get Jerr to a tournament.
To compete.
Yeah, so
no, I feel I'm healthier, I'm leaner.
Speaking of that, it hasn't been long. We talked about it last podcast, so it's been 7 more days since you've been trying to eat cleaner. Has that stayed up this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've been eating a lot of spinach.
A
lot of healthy stuff. A lot of stuff that I don't like.
The greens.
Yeah. And I think I might cut down on my sugars too.
Yeah, you actually bailed on me. I was all pumped. You went to grab Dr. Pepper for me, and I just assumed you're grabbing one also because it is, I think I said this before, probably the tastiest beverage on earth.
Yeah. And
you came back with a Smart Water.
Yes, sir.
I want to slap you in your face.
I wanted to slap me in the face for getting a Smart Water and not a Dr. Pepper, but I'm trying to get an 8-pack. That's my goal. My long-term goal.
You can't bail on me. I got it because I thought you'd be coming down with me. Like, as healthy as I do, I still need that Dr. Pepper at least, once a week, or if I could, if I feel like I burned off enough that week, I'll put another one in my body. But I honestly I just want to punch you, actually. Not even a slap. But,
hello.
How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm excellent. Thanks for calling in to the BJJ Addict Podcast.
Awesome, man.
All right, for those that don't know, this is Sergio Machado Please go on a bit. Maybe let us know how you got started in the martial arts business or world. I know I see 17 years experience. So maybe let's start at the beginning. How did you get into this beautiful sport?
Well, when I was 18, I joined the military. I ended up going into the Army and ended up going and doing some stuff with the Rangers and stuff like that, and started getting into a lot of ground fighting. And we got introduced into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that way. I kind of did it on and off throughout my 10-year military career. And then I decided about the middle of 2005 that I was going to get out of the military and pursue it full time. So I got out in November of 2007, and I've been doing it professionally ever since.
That's unbelievable. I mean, doing it all on your own, what are some obstacles that you had to overcome as far as, when you're just a student, you don't have to worry about too much. So what are some things that you've had to deal with in the last couple of years when you're the main man, everyone's counting on you?
You know what? Unfortunately, hindsight's 2020. If I would have known half of this stuff I know now, I would have definitely thought twice about opening my own business and doing it, because I kind of joke around with a lot of my friends and I tell them, look, bro, if you like your friends and you like the people around you, don't ever open your own business. So hindsight, there's a lot of competition in this business, unfortunately, and there's a lot of stuff. And I think what ends up happening is the obstacles that I find along the way is that people tend to either stick really close to you, or you end up separating from a lot of people that you thought you were really close with, and you end up finding the flaws in the friendships, and it just kind of takes a beating. I think that's one of the main obstacles that I've seen so far in starting my own academy.
For those that don't know, let everyone know what your academy is and where it is, perhaps.
We're located in Ontario, California. It's in the Inland Empire. It's called Team 3 Fight Academy. You can find us at www.team3fightacademy.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it right there.
That's funny. I live in the province of Ontario in Canada.
That's kind of like how we got hooked up on Twitter. I think we ended up finding each other because of the Ontario name, and ever since then we've kind of been following each other.
Yeah. I always shout out questions. You give some of the best answers, and that's one thing I always say to people that are skeptic about Twitter. I mean, it's unbelievable the friendships or advice you can get from complete strangers sometimes, and not necessarily on everything, but I find especially with the community of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I just have good feelings about people right off the get-go when I know that they're not just in it to do it, but I mean, it's their lifestyle. There's a big difference.
Absolutely. And you know what's so amazing about that is, if you would have thought about this decades ago, what we have at our fingertips right now, I mean, from a cell phone, is far beyond what we had 20 years ago. I mean, you can reach millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people very easily, even if you're, pretty much a novice at this. Everything from forums and Facebook and Twitter and blogs and stuff like that. But yeah, to find out information as far as what's the latest move, how do you recover from an injury or whatever the case may be. I mean, complete strangers are always there to give you advice very willingly.
Absolutely. I see that your academy represents Checkmat. I mean, that's a big name in the sport right now. What does that do for yourself and for your academy? How does it feel to represent them?
Man, let me tell you something. I've trained with a lot of people, and I've trained with a lot of different schools, and every single one of them top notch in their own way. And nothing to take away from them, but I'll tell you this: the amount of talent that we have in our Checkmat affiliate schools here in Southern California, and all of the Checkmat affiliates that come in for the Pan Ams and the Worlds every single year is absolutely phenomenal. To sit there during a regular training session and watch 20 black belts, half of them world champions, just absolutely go like it's the finals at the Mundials is amazing. There isn't a moment on the mat that I don't absolutely just I'm in awe. And you, if you just pay attention, you can pick up just the smallest little things that will change your game. And I think that makes all the difference in the world, to be able to train with people of that caliber. And you know, to be a Checkmat school, it does very well for our school, but we also, you know, do a lot for, you know, Checkmat as a whole, because our school is very competition, you know, focused as well. So we have a really good kids team. We have a really good adult team. We go out and we compete on a regular basis. So, you know, Checkmat's number one in the world. And the way that we do that is we're constantly out there competing, you know, getting people on the podium, getting people, you know, progressing. And even for those who don't, you know, who don't take a medal home or don't progress, we ensure that they've learned something from, you know, the loss, and that it isn't necessarily a loss, but it's a learning, it's a step in their learning process.
How do you get some of your students, say, who are on the fence about competing, or maybe how about the ones that are, maybe you see them in the gym very talented but can't mentally perform at the same level? What are some things that you do with students in those situations? I don't push competition on any of my students. I think it's just kind of a natural thing that happens. We have a lot of competitive athletes within my school, so it's kind of like a natural progression that they want to follow that line. You either have, competitors, or you have recreational jiu-jitsu guys, and there's no priority given when I teach. But if for those who are on the fence, I find a decent tournament, and I bring it up to them. I said, hey, if you're looking to compete, this is a smaller tournament, not a whole lot of pressure, especially if you're, a white or blue belt. Nobody's going to remember that years down the line. It doesn't really matter whether you take home a medal or not. It's the fact that you get out there and you're able to perform at the same level at which you perform at in the gym. And unfortunately, we would like to think that we perform at our full potential in competition, but in all actuality, in my opinion, I think that you use about 10% of what you know. You kind of like truncate your entire game when you compete. You can't do all the crazy movements, and you can't, stall and do all those different things that you would normally do in the gym. You kind of get your game down to about 10%, and you have to be proficient at it. You got to know, your go-to sweeps or your go-to takedowns, your go-to passes and your go-to submissions from each one of the different positions that you like, and you have to have your game the way that you do it in the gym. And what I find a lot of the time is that you have three different types of people. You have the people who are really good in the gym and are not willing to do the same thing in competition. They kind of choke. And then you have those guys who are not so good in the gym, but when it comes to competing, they're absolutely amazing. It's like, where did you get that from? I didn't even, know you had that in you. And then you have that very few who are, equally as good in the gym as they are in competition. So I think it's just a matter of, just being around the group of people who compete, and they kind of just get the nerve up to go out there, and they get a lot of support from the other students around them. That's a great point. My co-host, Jerr here, he's got a question now.
Hi. How did coaching come about? Is this something that you wanted to do, or something that just fell into your hands?
You know what? Being in the military for 10 years, I've always been a leader. I ended up getting, my sergeant stripes, and even when I was an E4 specialist and a corporal, I was always put in charge of things because I was always willing to be that leader that needed to take charge. So I think it's just a natural progression that, as I started doing jiu-jitsu, I was on the mat and I would see somebody struggling with it. I was that guy who would kind of come over and ask them if they needed some help and a little bit of extra work. When I was a blue belt, I would help out, some of the white belts. And when I got my purple belt, I would help out the white and blue belts. And it was just kind of a natural progression. And I realized that, even though I wasn't in the military anymore, I still loved to teach. And it's always been, my dream that when I got out of the military that, I would, get my black belt and I'd be a world champion and I'd open my gym. And the funny thing is, all of that's, still in a progress, but at the same time, it kind of happened backwards. I ended up getting my gym long before all of that stuff, even happened.
Mm-hmm. Is one of your goals now, with that being said, to also perhaps, create some world champions?
You know, it's funny you say that. Absolutely. You know, my goal, 5 years ago, 6 years ago was, I want to be a black belt. I want to be a world champion. I want to open my gym. And the funny thing is now, I obviously, I want to be a black belt world champion, but I think it's more important to be able to create world champions. We had one of our students this year who took the gold at the Worlds, and that's amazing to me. To be able to create your very first world champion. Now my goal is to be able to create a world champion in every single belt, and that's my next step. If I'm 34 years old, if I never see a world championship, around my neck, to be able to create world champions, you're worth every penny.
Looking back through your coaching career, what are some of the joys that come out of helping develop other grapplers?
The crazy thing is I spend a lot of time with my kids program. I take a personal interest in teaching every single one of these kids, and there's always that awesome feeling that student, whether they be adult or whether it be a child, when they got their hand raised and they're in the finals and you just realize they won the gold. I mean, everybody's going to get excited about that stuff. What really amazes me is the stories that I hear months and years down the line of how much improved each one of my students has gotten, or their family life has gotten. I got parents coming up to me and telling me, my son used to get bullied in school, and he was just kind of picked on and so on and so forth. And he's been training with you now for about 2 years, and ever since he started training with you, not only does he not get picked on, but he never gets in a fight. It's just the way he carries himself now, and his grades got better, and he interacts with everybody in the house a lot better. Like, he's able to communicate, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that each one of us, when you train in jiu-jitsu, we are faced with reality every single day. Like, the mat will never lie. You can never go on there and say how awesome you are, and I know this and I know that, but when you actually train, the talk is over. Now it's time for action, and you either do or you don't, and there is no in between. There's no gray area, and I think that helps out a lot of people as they train in dealing with real situations. And as a coach, I think it's my job, and that's the biggest joy that I get, is helping them realize that fact, and more importantly, how far they've come on their journey. And to also realize that, look, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have obstacles, you're going to have, quote unquote, failures in your jiu-jitsu career or your journey, whether you do it, professionally or you do it recreationally, whether you compete or not. You're still going to have those moments where you feel like, man, I didn't really achieve what I wanted to achieve in it. And I think it's as a coach, one of the joys that I get is seeing them get through those obstacles and realizing, look, this is just a little step, a little piece of your journey. I mean, you look at Carlos and Helio Gracie. I mean, they died doing what they love doing, and they've taken this beautiful sport and given it a true legacy to follow, and that it is a way of life. It isn't just a sport. It isn't just something that you do after you get off of work or a couple times a week. It's a way of thinking. So I think that's my main joy that I get from coaching.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, the kids, I see them at tournaments. It's amazing what they're capable of doing. You are a BJJ brown belt, correct?
This is correct.
How many years has it been so far?
I got my brown belt in February 2000. What year is it? 2011. So last year, February 2011. So I've been a brown belt for about a year and a half now.
Okay, that's nice. Me and my host here, Jerr, we've been really fascinated with the leg drag. We just started drilling it nonstop. We're going to continue drilling it nonstop. Is there something that you're kind of hooked on right now? Something that you love drilling?
The leg drag is awesome. I mean, I find that the leg drag a lot in the open guard Toreando pass, or even like De La Hiva. I think what I'm really working on right now, a lot of bottom game stuff, because I'm more of a top game guy. I love playing top. My passes are pretty solid, but my bottom is, definitely one of my weaker areas. And I've been working a lot on, protecting the De La Riva passes and, working into different positions, like fresh fish and Lucas half and different positions that will allow me to be able to recover much, much quicker if they were able to get out of my half guard.
Nice. For those that don't know, I'm going to tell them right now, you also have fought MMA, I believe, 6 fights?
Yes.
On the internet. It's amazing. This is scary, eh? So, but was this a natural progression, getting into the martial arts and the BJJ? Is this something you knew you always wanted to do? Or was it just a sheer, like, winging it? Like, yeah, I want to try it. My Jitsu is good. I could probably sub everyone. What was your mindset doing that?
The crazy thing is, man, I'm actually in the process of kind of like writing an inspirational autobiography. Without delving too much into my past, I've had a pretty rough upbringing, and I think I was kind of created into a fighter, mainly because I kind of grew up in an abusive household, and a lot of things happened when through my teenage years. So I was just very angry as a teenager and very aggressive as it was, and I was getting suspended from school, and I was up for expulsion several times, and just fighting and all different types of things. So I've always been a fighter per se. I just wasn't any good at it, and I think when I got into the military was able to kind of hone all of those different aggressive levels that I had in me and kind of like guide them in a specific direction. And I would say March of 2006, I had back surgery. I had a discectomy. I had 2 herniations in my lower back, and 9 months prior, I was, on crutches, and I was bedridden, and I was on all kinds of like painkillers because, it was just really hard to deal with. And I think during that 9-month period, I kind of realized that, if I get out of this, I want to do something with my life. I'd already spent, almost a decade in the military. I'd been to Iraq 3 different times. I was an airborne ranger, sniper. I did all the, the cool guy stuff. And I kind of got that out of my system. I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to, I've always been that entrepreneur type of mindset. And, I decided before I had my back surgery that, if I was able to recover from this, that I was going to get out of the military and I was going to be a professional fighter. I'd really started getting into a lot of the UFC stuff. And the funny thing was I didn't know a whole lot about jiu-jitsu. I knew a lot about, MMA and the fighters and stuff like that. But the funny thing is as I started really training into it, I fell in love with jiu-jitsu. And the funny thing, even more so, is that I was doing no gi in Iraq. We were running a tournament once a month. It was either the first or the last Friday of each month, and we called it Fight Night. And all the different soldiers and airmen from different bases would come in on that one day, and we'd all compete against each other. And it was all no gi stuff. It wasn't until I got out of the military that not only did I fall in love with jiu-jitsu even more, but I fell in love with the gi. And I'm predominantly a jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu with gi and everything, and I just absolutely love it. If I love doing MMA, don't get me wrong, and I have a great time. My Muay Thai is pretty solid, but jiu-jitsu is my passion, man. And I think it was just, I guess you would say, kind of a natural progression. Ever since I was little, I just didn't realize it until later on.
Man, you can't beat the gi.
No way, dude. You gotta love it.
Listen, man, when you get this all done, try to send me like one of the first copies. I'd be dying to read it. I was gonna actually get into this, if you don't mind. But you say like a back surgery, like it was nothing. You were actually not gonna be able to walk, correct? Like,
dude,
yeah. On the website you gave out, does it have that video clip? Because I found it on your Team 3 Fight Academy website. Same thing. Does it show the news clip of yourself? They did a little cover on you, correct?
Yeah. I was actually interviewed by American Latino TV. They did a spot on me, and I was also interviewed this last Veterans Day by one of the local news stations out here, Channel 2 and Channel 9 News. And basically, long and short of it is just being in the military for so long. I had 2 really bad herniations in my back. and they were impinging on a sciatic nerve down my left leg, and it took them almost, I would say, about 7 months to even diagnose it. A lot of my superior officers and commanders, they thought I was faking it, and turns out, because they did all the X-rays, and I wasn't complaining about my back, I was complaining about my leg, and so finally I ended up seeing a physical therapist, and she said, "Oh, I know exactly what it is." So they did an MRI, and sure enough, I had two herniations the size of a quarter, pinching this nerve, which was causing a lot of pain. It was, keeping me from being able to walk. So it took them about 2 months to be able to schedule the discectomy. I couldn't touch my toes. I was literally stuck in bed. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't go quite in, detailed in depth, but it definitely talks about it not only on my website, Sergio-Machado.com, but you can also find it on the Team 3 site, both of those interview spots.
Yeah, I watched it, and it was, I just want to tell you, man, it was so inspirational. Just me watching it, this is before I ever even spoke to you, really. I just think I followed you, or vice versa, and I kind of, I saw your website, so I click on it just to check it out, and I see this spot on you, and it was super, man, it was really touching. Just so you know, it's incredible that you battled through that, and man, it was just an awesome story. It's a feel-good story,
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. Believe me, it wasn't feel good going through it. I think it was just, man, like I said, I've been through a lot, growing up, and in my life, I've, seen a lot of different things happen with my platoon mates in the military, and, having served 3 tours in Iraq, I wasn't, what we call a fobbit or a pogue. I wasn't the kind of guy that just sat there, behind, the safety of the walls and, worked in an office. Like we ran operations, and we kicked in doors, and we did all of that stuff. So, I have instilled in my very DNA and my fiber of who I am that, you never quit. You can't quit. You keep going until your last breath, and then you even fight even more if you can, And I think it was just that desire to not let anything get the very best of me. It's an absolute miracle, because they told me that 5 years after my surgery that I would be just as bad as I was before the surgery. And I think, what is it, like 6 years now, almost 6.5 later, and I'm strong. And don't get me wrong, I have my moments, but God is good, man. I'm blessed.
Amazing. People can purchase a certain. You created a T-shirt, a clothing line, Recon Fight Gear. Let people know what that is, and how they could actually purchase some of the shirts that you've made.
I created a shirt that commemorates 10 of my platoon mates that passed away in a helicopter crash during my last tour. My platoon leader was on it, my best friend was on it, and my platoon mates were on it, and it just absolutely it was a hard time for all of us. And without going into too much detail, I wanted to honor them. I think that we get so wound up about all these different celebrities passing away, and you see all these memorials and people crying of people they've never even met before, but nobody remembers the name of the guy who died in Afghanistan today. And it's virtually impossible to remember thousands and thousands of people. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that the guys that I served with, that they stayed fresh in our minds. And so I created a small clothing company called Recon Fight Gear. You can read more about it at Recon, RECON, fightgear.com. And you can just email me directly through any of the websites and just ask for the T-shirt.
All right, perfect. I hope everyone goes out, snags one, supports a great cause. Moving on, if you don't mind, we'll go back to some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff. I loved your story, though. I really am sincere when I say I want that book once you write it. Did you compete at the Worlds this year?
Yeah, I did, actually.
And how was that as an experience? This is one thing I've never done. I've actually never even done an IBJJF tournament, period. So how is the biggest stage of them all?
You know what, to be honest with you, I compete on a regular basis, so the stage itself isn't nerve-wracking for me. You know, I take it just like it's, you know, a small in-house tournament. I mean, it's, you know, we've been doing this for, you know, many, many years now. So, you know, I take it just as seriously as anything else. But this is the one tournament that's always been elusive to me. And it's, I got to be honest, man, it's been absolutely driving me nuts. But I've won the Pans. You know, I've placed at the Pans, but I have never won or placed at the Worlds yet. And I think it's just my thorn in the flesh. But I did 3 rounds. I beat my first guy in points. I submitted my second guy via armbar, and my third guy I lost by triangle choke. I fought that thing for like 4 minutes, man, but just made a simple fundamental mistake, and I had my elbow open on the half guard pass. I was able to capitalize on it. So it's you know, just time for me to go back to the drawing board and fix that little mistake. That's it.
How do you mentally prepare for a tournament as big as that?
I draw from this stuff. I always go back to my military experience, man. I draw back from, you know, my experience being in the military, and just every time we go outside the wire, you know, I mean, I told my guys as soon as we got on that plane, I told them, look, you're dead. Just deal with the fact that you're dead. You're never coming home. You're never going to see your family again. You have nothing but the guys to your right and to your left. And when you leave, the curb next to you could blow up, and that's it. You could, you know, be shot in the head and never hear the shot of the guy who shot you, you know, and all these different things can happen, you know, explosions and just crazy stuff. And when you deal with that kind of like real live Russian roulette on a day-to-day basis, you know, week after week, month after month, year after year, you get desensitized to, you know, that type of adrenaline, so to speak. So when I compete at something like this, a stage of this magnitude, I look back and I say, you know what, dude, it's not 150 degrees outside. I'm not getting shot at. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen today is that I'm, you know, going to lose. So I mean, what am I worried about? You know, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do what I do, and I do it well, and I know I do it well. So I think that kind of takes that major edge off of things for me. You know, obviously I put a lot of pressure on myself to do really well. And when I don't, you know, I get really disappointed, obviously. But I think that really helps me, you know, in the end, to be able to not get so sucked into, oh, it's the worlds, you know. So I think that's just kind of how I deal with it.
Is that the same mentality as MMA? Because, I don't know, for me, I want to do MMA, but, man, it's just scary getting punched and kicked. What was that like?
You know, yeah, you know, I'm not going to lie. You know, it's definitely a feeling when I fight MMA than when I do jiu-jitsu. Because, I mean, anything can happen in MMA. I mean, you could really get, you know, seriously injured. But it's the same mentality. It's the same thought process. You know, if you're the number one man in a stack of 4 people kicking in a door to get a bad guy who you know is waiting for you on the other side of that door holding a gun at the door, you know, your only saving grace is to kick that door in and run in that room as fast as you possibly can and hope that everybody behind you is in there with you at the same time. And it's that you either go all in or you don't go at all, kind of a mentality. There's no room. There's no time to be scared. You just got to go in there and do what you know that you do well. And, you know, you got to fight for every inch you have. And somehow you have to make sure that you come out on top. And, you know, that's just the way I see it. And getting punched and getting kicked, like, that's all, you know, it hurts and it sucks. But, you know, nothing is as bad, honestly, as walking out of that cage knowing that you lost. Yeah. So I'd rather get, you know, beat up. Like my last fight, you know, fought for the welterweight championship up in Salinas for Central Coast Throwdown. And, I fought Nico Jackson, which is Eugene Jackson's son.
Oh, cool.
And that guy rocked me. He rocked me the first round and just put it to me. His hands were awesome. And, I just had to hang in there and weather the storm and, trust my conditioning and my defenses. The second round, I took him down. It was kind of half and half. And, I found a way to be able to come out on top. I ended up kicking him in the head and putting him to sleep with a head kick in the third round. So, it's just that mentality of, I don't care what happens. You got to carry me out of here on a gurney. I will find a way to win.
I like this story. I think I'm gonna have that mentality like you from now on.
Winning the world or making it to a big league in MMA, what's more important?
Winning the worlds.
Winning the world. True.
Winning the worlds.
Jiu-jitsu practitioner right there.
If I never fight another MMA fight in my life, if I never ever see a big championship belt or anything like that, man, if I could win the worlds, that would just put the icing on the cake.
Why do you think jiu-jitsu, like BJJ, is? I don't know what it is, but there's something to it that, I've done karate before. It's just not the same. What makes it so magical? I don't know.
That's a really good question. I honestly think it's like this. I try and explain to the people who come into my school what it is, because the first thing that's out of their mouth is it like Taekwondo, or is it like karate? Or I used to train Kung Fu, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is completely different. You're not breaking boards. You're not punching bags. You're actually dealing with all of your personal insecurities and having somebody trying to impose their will on you against your will. It brings out a certain fear deep down inside your heart. And I think when you start doing it, you start to realize, I either love this or I hate it. And, as a white belt, regardless of whether you're getting smashed or not, you have that competitive edge inside of you that just says, no, I got to win. I got to find a way to get better at this. And it just sucks you in because it's real. It's real. We look back at the 80s and we watch all the Van Damme and the Steven Seagal and all that stuff. And we all know that stuff is it's Hollywood. It's not realistic. You don't punch a guy in the face one time and then all of a sudden he goes away and he's knocked out. It doesn't work that way. You can punch a dude as hard as you want, and you can tee off on him for 5 minutes straight, and he's still standing there. That's real. So I think because jiu-jitsu is very similar in the sense that you can give somebody everything you got, and they're still coming at you. I think it sets itself apart. It sets itself apart in a way that no other martial arts, can do, because you're not boxing with somebody where they're outside of your personal space and they're inside just for a second and then they're gone again. You got somebody inside your legs and your face and just all over you, and they're just smothering you. And it's a very personal sport that causes you to deal with every small insecurity and fear that you have inside of you. And I think it's you almost get a high off of it, just dealing with all that chaos and adrenaline. I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
I'm an addict. I'm a BJJ addict. Yeah, I'm going to add on to what Jerr said to you and kind of what you said, though. And Erica just typed in. She let me know. She's asking me, actually, and I agree with her. I think also the fact that a lot of those things, you could train for years and there's no way to see, unless you make it to the Olympics for Taekwondo, or there's no way to see if your karate technique works on a regular basis sometimes, whereas we could learn an armbar. I could go try an armbar. I can't do it still. And then I keep finding ways to do it until I could actually do an armbar and live rolling. And I think the fact that we actually see how effective the moves are that we're learning, it also keeps you having that feeling of hunger and that's, I think, I personally think a lot of the magic comes from once you sub someone for the first time, or vice versa, you get subbed for your first time, something happens, man, where you go, that's never going to happen again. And then when you get your sub, I think it's like, man, I got to do that again.
You know, I hate to compare these two things, but I think it's kind of similar to golfing. I don't know if you've ever been golfing before, but if you ever go golfing for the first time and you're just whacking away and chopping the grass, that first time you hit that golf ball and just send it flying, it's something happens and it just makes you come back again and again. I think jiu-jitsu is kind of similar in a way.
I think golf kind of is a gentle, you try to smash the golf ball and it doesn't go anywhere, but then you just do the right techniques and the ball flies 200, 300 yards, you know?
Uh-huh.
I like that. I have taken out some large pizza-sized divots, by the way, for golf.
Join the club, my friend.
Don't like me on the golf course much. You ever just said "us" to somebody when they asked you a question by any chance?
You know, I'm kind of very conscious of that. Yeah. Only because like you have half the BJJ community which firmly believes and just throws us out left and right, and then you have the other side of the community that like reprimands everybody for saying it all the time. So I think I pick and choose when I say it.
I'm on that you said the first one. They're like, you want a Dr. Pepper with that? I'm like, us. They don't know what I'm talking about. It just comes out sometimes, man.
Yeah.
So what's next on the plate for you? We're coming close to the end. So I want to know what's on the rest of your 2012, any competitions, stuff you want to throw out there. Just let us know. I'm curious too. So.
Yeah, you know, last Wednesday I actually broke my hand in training. I fractured a bone at the top of my hand and in my wrist. And the plan was to go out to Vegas on August 11th and compete at the IBJJF Las Vegas Open. That's still the plan. My doctors say that I should be okay. I've been working with one of my sponsors, the OC Fight Doc, Dr. Kessler, doing like Cole's laser therapies and ultrasounds to kind of heal this hand up quickly. But that's definitely the next one. I think I'm really looking forward to the Master and Seniors Worlds this year, which is a new tournament by the IBJJF that's going to be held here in Long Beach as well. And then hopefully the Noki Worlds by the end of the year. So we'll see.
Wow, still got a busy year ahead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's not including all the other like kids competitions and stuff like that too.
Yeah, you got to be a coach still.
Yes, sir.
Busy. You said your sponsor. We're talking about this before you came on. How incredibly hard it is to get sponsored as doing jiu-jitsu. Like they don't understand out here what I'm trying to tell them that I need some support for. It's a rough go. What's your take on this?
You know, the funny thing is, man, you're absolutely right. It is very difficult to get sponsors, but this is what I find amusing. 90% of the people that are doing jiu-jitsu that ask for sponsors, they get on Facebook or Twitter and say, hey, I got a fight coming up in a week. Somebody sponsor me. And at the end of the day, you have to understand that you are a business. You are not a person. And if anybody sponsors you, it's out of the kindness of their own heart. If they just throw, $100 at you to do a tournament. No, you're a walking business. You're a billboard. And, if they sponsor you for $100, the idea is that you make them more money than they gave you. Mm-hmm. That way it's a fair exchange for them. It's called an investment. And most people don't understand that. And asking people to sponsor you on Facebook is definitely not the way to go about it. The way I go about getting sponsors is I draft a formal business letter. It's a proposal, and I send it out to, specific companies, and I target specific people and specific companies for specific things. And I say, hey, this is what I'm going to offer you. This is what I can promise you. This is what I'm asking in return. What do you say? And that way you present it in a way that they would be an idiot to say no. if you go the other way and say, hey, I got to fight in a week, and you don't really give them time to budget or plan for it, and say, I'm looking for a sponsor. I want a free gi, and I want, my registration paid for. Like, chances are nobody's going to jump on that. So I think the way, that the jiu-jitsu community needs to start changing the way that they look at things is that they are a business, just like any other athlete. And I think that there needs to be, agents, so to speak, or public relations people specifically for jiu-jitsu athletes, so that their whole job and purpose in life is to get sponsors for jiu-jitsu athletes. And then obviously they would take their cut and treat it just like any other sport. We need to legitimize ourselves. We need to get ourselves in the Olympics. We need to get ourselves on the big playing field, on national television. And the only way that we're going to do that is to stop playing like we're amateurs. And unfortunately, that's what I see more often than not.
That's a great point. But it is nothing more heartbreaking when a company doesn't at least give you the time of day to even say no to you. Super professional letters for my show. I'm not even talking about myself, but even for the show I have, and that's legitimate. You're going to get advertisement and views on YouTube and da-da-da. There is a lot of benefits, but don't even write back to say no. It kills me sometimes, but just got to keep hustling, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of put them in a corner, though. I do my homework. I find all their contact information, or I start asking beforehand. And at the end of my letter, I say, okay, if I don't hear back from you in a week, I'm going to be emailing you again, or I'm going to call you again. And I just keep putting them on the spot until we get an answer, yes or no. And more often than not, what ends up happening is it just sits in somebody's inbox, and it doesn't necessarily go to the person you need it to go to. So you kind of have to get in there and just keep harping until it gets to the right person, until the right person tells you yes or they tell you no. So you got to kind of be persistent with it.
Take everything you told me.
What's that now?
I'm gonna take everything you just told me, and I'm gonna start doing even more crazy work to get sponsored. And then when people ask me, I'm not even gonna give you credit for it. I'm gonna act like these are ideas I came up with.
You should do that.
I'm going to. I'm gonna be like, how did you think of this, Dave? I'm like, yo, man, you just gotta keep harassing people.
It's like jiu-jitsu, man. If it doesn't work one way, you got to go another way. You just got to keep doing it, man, till it works.
If it doesn't work, I'll give you credit then.
All right, good.
I always tell people that you're the one that told me that. But it is one of the hardest sports. Literally, I don't know. I don't think hockey's as big down in Ontario, California. But people out here will throw $500 away. No problem to put a little thing on a kid's jersey that says some local pizzeria. And I mean, who's going to actually see that, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts, but they won't even extend some help out for you sometimes. Like, I agree with what you say, though. I really like the agent idea is really cool. I might become the first ever BJJ agent and start really putting work in.
I may actually be your very first client.
And we might have to work something out. I can work night and day harassing people.
Very nice. And you know what might actually almost work too? You made a good point. The fact that a lot of people don't really know what jiu-jitsu is. The first thing that they attribute it to is taekwondo or karate. To give them a visual, make a like a promotional video of your past competitions, and kind of give them an idea of what kind of stage you're talking about. What kind of advertisement, the number of people that you can reach, and give them an idea, kind of a motivational video to kind of get them to go over the other side and say, okay, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. And I don't think people realize that my gi is an unbelievable billboard. Like right now as we speak, I got 3 different patches on there, and I got room for a lot more.
This is true.
Photos that reach a lot of people, videos, like you said, if you're on a website and a picture gets sent on Facebook alone, I mean, man, that's a lot of press, just word of mouth also. But yeah, I think your idea for a promo video And actually, I think education is going to be the first step, probably. So,
absolutely.
And it was a pleasure talking to you.
Well, likewise, the pleasure's mine. Thank you, guys.
I'm sure we'll keep in touch through Twitter as usual. Man, let me tell you, I really hope the Worlds doesn't escape you for too long. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I don't imagine that it will. You know, I don't want my black belt anytime soon. I plan on competing at the Worlds next year as a brown belt. And you know what, man? I'm going to keep plugging away regardless of what happens. And, you know, that's up to my coach. But, you know, my goals are all very short-term goals as far as, you know, competitions for me. And, you know, I got Las Vegas Open. We got the Masters and Seniors Worlds. We got the No-Gi Worlds. So there's still 2 more opportunities this year to be a world champion. It's not said and done yet. But at the end of the day, it would really honestly never bother me if I don't win a single tournament ever again. Just the fact that I can continue doing jiu-jitsu and not be crippled in bed, that's the best thing to know ever.
God bless. I agree with that. One last thing, actually. I asked it on Twitter today. I said, other than obtaining a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what is something else, a goal that you would have, kind of like a BJJ bucket list, per se? A lot of people chose training in Brazil, of course. So is that what's yours?
Like I just to reiterate what I said before, is to create a world champion in every single belt. That's my goal.
Amazing. I wish you all the best.
Thanks, buddy. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. We'll keep in touch, like I said. Enjoy the rest of your night, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm off to go teach now.
All right. Enjoy.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So thanks for listening. Remember, go check him out. That was Sergio, I believe, -Machado.com or Team3FightAcademy.com. Remember to follow us, BJJAddictTV.com. Check out my website. Follow Jerr on Twitter. Enough with the ums, basically. Enough with the we're out, but, you know.
Hang tight.
Hang tight, dudes.
Yeah.
We brought it back. I think that's going to be the out for now on. I know people like it.
Shout outs to Sebastian Herrerias for
bringing it up. And remember, we actually might make a hang tight dude patch. So hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. If you guys want to hang tight, let us know. And have a good night. Check out next week.
Signing out.